Hey guys, welcome back, it's Ripe again. In today's video, my entitled neighbor claimed that she owns half of my driveway. She ended up getting my entire family towed, and of course I won't let her get away with that. Let's dive right into the video. And the first story starts like this. A large company is trying to buy up all the houses in my area to build a luxury resort with a golf field, pool and other things. A few days ago I got a knock on my door and someone came over and she told me that she was offering to buy my home. She was willing to give me 5% over market value. Their BS market value is less than I bought it for. I of course politely said, "No, I'm sorry, but I'm not at all interested in selling my house. Have a good day." She kept trying to sell the house and I told her, "Have a good day." 3 days later, she came back with a new offer, now 7.5% over market value. I said the same thing, "Please go away, I'm not interested." The next day someone else called me, I just hung up on them. All of my neighbors have been getting the same thing, some are deciding to sell but most are just refusing. That same lady then comes over, I was outside doing yard maintenance and says, "Hello, good news, we have a better offer for you, 12% over market value, that's great isn't it? Surely we can work something out." I then asked, "Do you have kids? A pet?" And she then responded back and said, "I have a son and 2 cats, why?" I then said, "How much for your son?" "I'll give you 15k for him and 2k for both of your cats." She confused said, "Those are not for sale." So I responded back, "Okay, douchebag, neither is my house. I hope you understand now. Get the F off my property and never come back. You're not welcome here or anywhere in this neighborhood." She said, "Listen, I tried being nice to you. Your house will be sold and we will try other legal means to get your house." Me? Did you not understand what I just said? Get the F off my property, you ugly, disgusting Karen. She left. I am scared that this company is going to try to use the domino eminente to force me to sell my house. And yeah, Ripe Stars, I'm curious what you think about this story. Do you think that OP acted like an a-hole in this story or not? Let me know in the comments. A user in the comments said, "Not the a-hole, you are under no obligation to be polite to people who cannot take no for an answer." However, companies trying to take over property are not known for being super nice themselves, so I would ask an attorney for advice on how to protect yourself. Comment number 2, not the a-hole. I also don't see how eminent domain applies. Eminent domain applies to which is built for public use. A luxury resort is a private business. You might want to get the neighbors that are staying to start a letter writing campaign. Even to the Congress, the mayor, the judge that might oversee the eminent domain that may or may not happen. Nip it in the bud. If you show that you and others will fight tooth and nail from the start, they may see it as too costly a venture to move forward with. Also maybe contact the media. Bad press won't be good for their resort. Update to the story. After I politely declined the initial offer from the representative of the company, things start to escalate quickly. It seemed as if they were determined to acquire my property no matter what, and they were becoming more and more aggressive in their tactics. I started receiving multiple phone calls and visits from different people affiliated with the company, each time with a higher offer than the last. At first it was just annoying, but it soon became clear that they were not gonna take no for an answer. One day I arrived home from work to find a notice on my door stating that the company had filed an eminent domain action against my property. They claimed that they needed my land for a public use and were willing to pay me the fair market value of my property. But I knew that they were just trying to bully me into selling. I immediately reached out to a lawyer and we started working on a case. The company's actions were not only immoral but also illegal, and we were determined to prove that in court. As we began to investigate, we discovered that the company had a history of using underhanded tactics to acquire land. They'd buy up neighboring properties and then use the threat of eminent domain to force the holdouts to sell. The more we learned, the more convinced we became that the company was just looking to turn a profit at the expense of our community. They were planning to build a luxury resort with a golf course, pool and other amenities, but at what cost? Throughout the legal battle, the company's aggression only grew. They hired private investigators to dig up dirt on us, hoping to find some way to discredit our case. They even went as far as trying to intimidate us by hiring security guards to stand outside our homes. Despite their tactics, we never backed down. We knew that we were fighting for what was right and we were determined to see it through to the end. Finally, after months of legal battles, we emerged victorious, the judge ruled in our favor and the company was forced to back off. They were ordered to pay us for the legal fees and damages we had incurred during the process. It was a long and difficult fight, but in the end we were able to protect our community from the greed of a large corporation. The experience taught me the importance of standing up for what's right and never giving in to those who try to bully or intimidate us. The next one is the title story, and it starts like this. I was fortunate when I bought my house because not every home in the area has a private driveway. Mine is one of the newer houses, so during the design of it, a driveway was installed and it's really nice to have. It's wide enough to fit 2 cars side by side and goes in enough that if you're careful, you can fit about 8 cars. I love this because it means when I host the holiday parties, it's fairly easy for my family to find parking during the time of year when finding street parking can be a nightmare. Speaking of nightmares, I would like to introduce you to my neighbor who is just insane. I don't feel comfortable using real names, so I will just call her Satan. Now, Satan has always been jealous that we have a driveway while she is stuck parking on the street. We have had many conversations of her trying to say my driveway is wide because it was made for both of the homes. I double-checked this to make sure that I was not in the wrong. And I was not, and my driveway is 100% on my property. Now, if she was a nice woman, I might let her park under normal circumstances. Her name in this is not Satan for no reason though. She is the nastiest woman I've ever come across, and multiple times I had to stop her from fighting people that I hired over the years. She tried to stop somebody from pruning my trees, from cleaning my gutters, and even digging up the yard because I had to get a new septic tank installed. She gets into everybody's business and verbally abuses every single person she comes across. So no, of course, she is not allowed to use my driveway. My family came to visit for the holiday as I decided to play host that year. We tend to swap off between me, my siblings, and a couple cousins who get to host. We are not that big of a family anymore, so we really try to all meet for the holidays. Anyway, my driveway was packed with their cars and we had an amazing night of dinner, jokes and games. It was late by the time everybody started leaving and for us to find something shocking when we opened the door. The driveway was empty and every single car was now gone. I did see Satan standing outside and smiling at me, so I knew that she had something to do with all of this. Me, did you see what happened to all the cars in my driveway? Satan, yes, I towed them because they were on my half. Me, I told you before, you don't have a half. You just towed my entire family's car from my private property driveway. I was too tired to fight with her and just walked away to call the police. They came and Karen told her story of it being half her driveway and that we were parking illegally on it. I don't know what her excuse for getting the cars on my half towed was. Since this has been an issue with her, I have documents showing where the property line is and that the driveway is actually mine. So then she gets a citation for the illegal towing and a date to show up in court and pay for the cost of getting the cars out. The thing was that the tow yard was closed at this time of night. This meant everybody had to find some space to sleep in my house and it was not the nicest fit. I actually ended up sleeping on the floor and giving my bed to 2 of my aunts. They all understood, but were just as pissed off at Satan as I was. It was the holiday season and I wanted to be a good person and just drop the entire thing once my family got their money back. Satan did not like that and I won with the police that night and came up with a brand new plan. This one being, if she couldn't have my driveway, then nobody could. I did not know what she was doing until I heard the sound of the jackhammer outside my house. Don't ask me where she got it because to this day I don't have the answer to that. Anyway, she was using it to destroy as much of my driveway as possible. I secretly recorded what she was doing for a few minutes while staying inside my house in fear of her plus something that dangerous. I called the police again saying that there was a crazy woman outside my house with a jackhammer destroying my property. By the time they got there, I would say about half of the driveway was broken from her antics. Even once they got there, she didn't want to turn it off and stop her destruction. It was not until the cop pulled something out that I think was a taser did she finally turn it off and put her hands in the air. At that point, it was considered safe and an officer came to my door. Officer, sir, you called about this woman? Me? Yes. She lives next door and I heard her with the jackhammer destroying my property. Just so you know, she's probably gonna claim it's half her driveway, but I can give you the papers that show it's not true. Officer, I might want those in a moment. But first I want to just confirm that she didn't have any permission to be on the property or do any kind of work. Me, no she didn't. I even got a recording of her from when I noticed her starting until you arrived. She's gotten citations for illegal towing from the driveway before. I just want her to leave me alone. Officer, I can assure you we will take this matter seriously. We have her on trespassing, destruction of property, and possible operation of a jackhammer without a proper license. Me, thank you, officer. They didn't want the recording or paperwork, but the courts needed it for their case against Satan. I also threw in the report from that night at the holidays because why not show how this was not the first issue on record. She does not deny doing anything wrong and claiming that she is allowed because it was her driveway. She was found guilty on all 3 counts but didn't actually end up going to jail. She did, however, get a few months of house arrest and then probation. I filed for a restraining order as well because I didn't want her to be anywhere near me. It might have been a problem except that she decided that in addition to property lines not applying to her, neither did the orders of the court. It only took 2 days for her to break the house arrest or house curfew, I don't really know the term. Anyway, that meant she was taken to prison for a little while before being let out again. Then another few days passed before she broke the restraining order and ended up getting taken to jail again for a couple months. I don't know if it was for finances or if her lawyer recommended it, but she finally ended up selling her house. That was also a process because the real estate agent realized that she couldn't have Satan anywhere near the potential buyers because she kept scaring them. Telling them the neighbor, me, was insane and would get them arrested the moment they moved in. Also, she kept lying and telling buyers that they would be getting the driveway as well as my actual house. Like a 2-for-1 house deal or something crazy. Eventually, it did get sold once she was removed from the process and then I never saw her again. I still have the restraining order in place, but I have a feeling she is either long gone or back in jail for something stupid. Edit, I forgot to mention, obviously she had to pay me a huge fine for the destruction of my driveway. I guess that is partially the reason why she had to sell her house as well. And yeah, Ripe Stars, I am really happy for OP that she got rid of this awful entitled Karen neighbor. Or rather, Satan, because this person might have been worse than a Karen. Anyway, if you enjoyed the video so far, please don't forget to like the video and maybe even leave a comment because that would help me tremendously. Thank you so much. And the next one is titled Revenge for My Late Wife. A few years after my wife passed away, I got an email out of the blue from an old friend telling me that he saw my late wife's photos on a swingers dating site. I did not judge him for being on this particular type of site and he sent me the link to the profile. On this website, like many others, you could read the profile and see 1 or 2 more photos, but you could not email the person unless you were a premium member. Since I couldn't reach the person, I asked my friend to contact the person and demand that they take the photos down. She didn't reply to this request and I contacted the website support and told them my story. The website admin told me that they could not take down the photos and only a DMCA copyright claim could get the photos removed. I could not submit a copyright claim, I didn't take photos, so there was no remedy to getting my late wife's photos of this person's profile. Enter the Pro Revenge, I decided to join the site as a premium member, but not as myself. I set up a profile as a couple looking for a single female to join us on vacations and on our boat. The reason for this was because that is what the offending person was looking for on their profile. Our intention was to catfish the gold digger, so I guess it's time to introduce the characters. You have the gold digger DG, my friend's wife posing as my wife FW, not the same friend that found the profile though, and me. Here is how it went down. First we befriended GD online, FW sent a message to GD, who listed in her profile that she was in the same province as us and asked GD what city or town she was in. As we have an RV and a boat that we like to travel around the province with and take mini vacations on different lakes. A few days later she replies and asks for photos. I sent a few photos of me and my friend's wife on his boss's boat from the previous summer. And yes, they gave me permission to use the photos and some others from their vacations that didn't include him in the photo. After about 2 weeks of back and forth, FW asks for any sexy photos, to which GD sends some sexy photos without her face because that would give her away as not being the person in the photos on her profile. This went on for another 2 days until FW asked her to do some FaceTime video. GD quickly replied that she had a microphone but her web camera was broken. She had a PO box that she had people send her gifts to, so we sent her an old webcam that I had. We were getting right into exposing her and FW agreed to come over to my place and use my photo studio and do the video and audio chat in front of my green screen that I put a photo of a large house interior onto with green screen software. The conversation goes like this. FW, hey, did you get that webcam we sent to your post office box? GW, audio only. Yes, thank you, but I'm really camera shy, so I did not set it up yet. FW, why would you be shy around us? As I walk into the frame behind her. GD, oh, both of you are there? Me, yes, I just wanted to say hi and let you two talk, but I'm still curious why you're shy around us. GD, well, the photos on my profile are a little old, and I've put on a few pounds since they were taken. FW, I understand, it took me a long time to get back to this size after fighting with it for years. We promise we'll not judge you based on your size, besides hubby likes plus-size girls. We almost had our catfisher hooked. GD, hold on, give me 10 minutes and I will change and put the webcam on. About 15 minutes later, we get a video call from GD. She is only lit by her computer screen and not easy to make out. FW, see, that was not hard, was it? GD, no, but I really did not think you would like me as I look now. But we know she never looked like those photos because they were of my late wife. FW, you look very beautiful. Do you have more light? GD walks away from the camera and turns on some serious lighting, like what you might see on a girl webcam site, and the camera quality was much better than the cheap old one that I had sent. FW, that's much better, let me call Martin, not my real name, over. Me, she is stunning. Just what have we been looking for? The hook is starting to catch. Again, I should let you two talk and I have some planning to do for our next vacation. I then walk away from the camera and go to my PC that is recording the video call and capturing screenshots. I suspect that this GD is not just looking for some suckers to take her on expensive vacations, but that she also does cam modeling work, as BBW cam models can make a lot of money because some dudes see them as being easy. After about an hour and a half of talking, FW has gotten lots of personal info about GD, including her real first name and that she works at a private camp for girls in the summer. And she also admitted to doing BBW cam work for extra cash. After a second video call, we told her about our upcoming vacation to Hedonism, which we found on the web as a popular swinger resort, and we would need her full name and a photocopy of her passport to make the reservations and arrange air travel. She fell for it and we had everything we needed. With a little help from Google Maps, we found the camp that she worked for and the contact info. We contacted the camp office looking for a job reference for GD, and sure enough, we contacted the right camp. When I contacted her with all our info and asked her to remove the photos of my late wife from her profile on the swinger site and any other site she might be using them on, this was her reply via PM. GD, you piece of crap, you catfished me. Me, no, I just wanted you to stop using my late wife's photos for your single and swinger profiles. GD, those are my photos. Me, no they are not. I have your real photo and you don't even look like my late wife. Even if I found them on the web, so they are free to use because they are public. Me, so by that logic, the images I have of you in your underwear on cam are public too? GD, no, those are my photos and I can prove it. Do you have the original copyright on them? Since I took them from the web, I have the copyright, correct? I know this is not how copyright works, but I'm stirring the pot. Me, hello? Me, hello, are you still there? She then blocked me. Since I'd already created a fake profile and paid the annual yearly fee, I decided not to let it go to waste. I changed the profile to include her images and links to the private video chats along with her personal info and named the girl's summer camp that she worked at. A few months later, I got a message from the administrator of the site that 2 of the photos had been removed due to a copyright claim by blank camp for girls because of a copyrighted logo on a shirt she wore during a private video call that I screenshotted. I figured by this they knew who she was and that she had been exposed. When I called the camp office again for a job reference, they said that they could not discuss this person as she is no longer associated with the camp. And now let's move on to the next story. It starts like this. I always see crazy Karen stories from Western countries, but some might be surprised to know that we definitely have some Karens here in the Czech Republic as well. While it is a nice place to live, I have a neighbor from hell story that will make you wanna punch your screen. So, I was living in this nice neighborhood with my parents and brother. We had this neighbor, and for the sake of the story, we will call her Karen. I hate to stereotype, but Karen was a typical older lady. I believe in her late 50s at the time, who did not really seem to have a lot to do. That is why she was known as the Karen of the neighborhood, or rather, the Czech equivalent. She always had something to say about people. Even if she was friendly with you, she would turn around and talk about you to other neighbors back. One time she had complimented my mom on a rose bush she was growing that was in memory for my grandmother who passed away. And the next day, the neighbor across the street from us had said that Karen was saying how if she owned our house, that its beauty would be highlighted with the yard work and garden. She was also saying that we were making our house uglier with our plans. Which, even if she thought that was true, why say that knowing the rose bushes were honoring someone that left us? Anyways, hopefully that gives you a nice idea of how Karen is. There were many things that Karen did not like. As a matter of fact, one of the things Karen hated the most was when other people parked in front of her house even if it was completely legal. Now, I would be more sympathetic to this disliking of hers if it actually made sense. In our city, we had laws in place that prohibited anyone from blocking driveways, exits, and handicap ramps on sidewalks. If someone parked in front of her house, it's not like they were blocking the driveway or making it impossible to get to her front door. Plus, the street/sidewalk is public property, so she could not actually prohibit someone from parking in front of her house, because nobody was breaking the law in the first place. Whenever we had people over, we tried to be mindful of parking because honestly, we didn't want to deal with any outbursts from Karen. There was even a rumor at one point that she had slashed someone's tires for parking halfway in front of her house, meaning the person had parked between her house and the house next to hers. Of course, there was no proof and it was never proven, but it is pretty believable to be honest, so we tried our best to avoid any confrontation with Karen or even basic conversations. Except one day we were having a get-together at my house to celebrate my brother getting a huge promotion at work. This was his first real professional job after graduating college, so it was important. Whenever we had people over, we had them park in our driveway in front of our house or on the side of our house, as our house was the last house before an intersection. This has never been a problem in the sense that everyone always had a place to park that was not in front of Karen's house. Except this time we were throwing a bigger event which meant a lot more people. You know where this is going. And yes, one of our guests did the unthinkable, they parked in front of Karen's house. I honestly had not even realized until our celebration was interrupted by hearing the commotion of a police car and a tow truck coming down our street. And sure enough, when a couple of our guests along with my brother and I went to go investigate, Karen was outside talking to the police. And our party guest's car was being loaded up onto a tow truck. We tried to stop them, but apparently when a car is loaded onto a tow truck, they have to tow it. Like when an officer already starts writing a ticket, they have to give it. We obviously knew that Karen had something to do with this, so we immediately started asking the police officer what was going on and what was the reason that they were called along with a tow truck. Well, Karen had told them that there was an abandoned car in front of her house. I stood up for my brother's friend and told them that the fact that they would just tow the car and not run the license plate or anything like that to see if it had a name on it was crazy. I understand that they have a job, but now what was supposed to be a happy event was turning into chaos. And when my brother's friend went to go confront Karen, she told him that he should be arrested for parking in front of her house and blocking her space. Huh? Fortunately, my brother and my mom had the money to help get his friend's car back from the towing lot, but this whole situation was completely unfair. I'm not a petty person, but I did not want Karen to think that she could get away with this. I did not know how, but I was going to find a way to put Karen in her place. Well, I did not have to think about it too hard, because just a few days after this, I was coming home after filling gas in my car. And guess who was stalled at the gas station? Karen. Her car would not start. A stranger had tried using jumper cables to help her out, but no luck. I figured it had something to do with the engine or battery, not really sure, as I saw this as an opportunity. I'm just an ass. Anyways, I walk up to Karen and ask if there is a way I can help her. She asked if I could have my dad help her tow her car back to her house because he worked in the car repair business. Her house was only 3 minutes away. And she did not want to pay for a towing truck, which pissed me off even more. She did not want to pay for a towing truck, but it was okay for my brother and mom to pay for a tow that was not even theirs. I actually had the stuff to tow her car myself because I drove a truck and I had a hitch on the back of my truck. If Karen was too cheap to pay for a tow, then she was too cheap to take it to a real mechanic's shop. at least without trying to negotiate the price. So I got her all hooked up to my truck and even gave her a ride back to her house. She of course thanked me and told me she was going to ask my dad if he could take a look at her car for free or a major discount. I told her my dad was extremely booked at his shop right now, so it might be a while, which was obviously a lie. But Karen did not need to know that. I told her this so she would discourage from asking my dad, which it worked because a week later her car was still parked on the street. So then I decided to file a police report for an abandoned car and had a tow truck come out to tow it away. But it was not just any tow truck. It was from a towing company that was about 30 miles away, so the fee would be a lot heftier. I'm assuming that Karen never paid the fee because she could not afford to. 2 weeks after this, she was driving her son's old car, but Karen does not scream at people for parking on the public street anymore, so it was worth it. And with this, we have reached the end of the video. However, if you cannot get enough of my content, please check out my endless playlist, where you can find thousands of hours of content. In addition, please don't forget to subscribe to my channel to not miss any of my daily uploads. Thank you so much in advance, and I hope to see you again tomorrow.